Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing this evening? Most importantly, welcome, welcome, one and all. Now, this was meant to be a watch along, but then I thought we got to skip all the entrances, do all the conversation whilst reacting live. It would be too much hassle. I'd have to come in and out to do the reaction and all that. So I thought, nah, we're just going to review it instead, but we'll have fun reviewing it. And I was not long outside, and it's 16 degrees here, so I'm not taking these off. I'm just going to leave them on. So there's your answer before anyone asks why you wearing sunglasses. But we have a show to review, don't we? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And before we do, we need the most important element. We need the tunes. But please do like, share, and subscribe. You guys know the drill. This is your AEW Dynasty review, brought to you by the Weekly Steelchair. If you would like to join me on this review, you're absolutely welcome to. Roy Orbison has an amazing song. I'll have no Roy Orbison slander. I will have no Roy Orbison slander in this. I actually think last night was a good show, bar some things I did say I wasn't going to like. And I still hold myself true to those words. There's still some things I don't like. Mind-numbingly tedious. All right, I'll let you off. I'll let you off then. I do obviously have praisals. I have criticisms. I was correct before many people on this planet. And also a theory of mine from months ago might actually stand true as well. So I'm right on two things. Or is it free? No, it's definitely free. Because I also said, obviously, the FTR thing before everybody. And we already know how that's going to happen, what's going to happen next. So there you go. Professional ego boost. One for the team. Let's get the stuff I didn't like out of the way first. I think that's the best part of the show. Stussy, hello. Keen, hello. Everyone in the chat, what's happening? Obviously, Zodiac's already in the chat. Catherine's already in the chat. I think we should start with what I definitely didn't like. Because then the show can warm itself up and we can get to the fun shit. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. I'm all for heel FTR as long as they're being used consistently in a good spot. I as well agree. I think if it doesn't lead to FTR becoming tag champions again as a heel tag team, then it's a fail. And I say that with fairness. If it doesn't lead to FTR becoming world tag team champions as a heel, then it means nothing. And it also means nothing if they end up siding with what I think might also happen. That could also contribute to a fail. But like I said, with failure comes lessons learned. And with lessons learned comes positive success. And with positive success becomes enjoyment. And with enjoyment, everyone gets what they want. And that ironically, is what pro wrestling is meant to be about, besides what type of fan you are. We got to enjoy what we like. And if you don't like what you like, then what's the point? I think right now is an opportunity. And here's a big, important comment, but also very important point. The most important thing about last night's heel turn is justified by one of the matches I said was not going to work out. And I stand by it. They need an FTR heel tag team because they seriously need more tag teams. When you actually look at consistency in the decisions, then it's mannerisms. It really is important. And when you look at wrestling right now across the board, I've said it before, I'm not going to change my mind. I'm not going to change my mind just because of one show. All right? I'm not going to change my mind. I said about WWE. I'm saying about AEW. I'm saying about TNA. You can have 3 good tag teams, but if that's all you've got, your tag team division isn't worth shit. You really need a blender of good tag teams to actually have a tag team division. Now, AEW has a few. WWE has a few. I already suggested on the SmackDown review on Saturday, the best thing that WWE can do, move the divisions, move the tag teams to one show. AEW essentially need to make a conscious decision about the tag teams. And if they do that, then let's move on. That as well, because it's no longer top guys out, it's top guys in. On what basis? On what basis? Just let me hear let me hear why. Just finished work waiting for a train. No, I notice how you put A train and good comment in a caps there, my friend. Here's a funny thing. No, they didn't. And I'm not saying that because I got the prediction wrong, but my theory was correct. But weirdly enough, and I've been thinking about it all day, AEW with a John Moxley main event for the first time in a long time, and I'm saying this in the right way because the last 2 main events he's had have been awful. They got it right. And here's the funny thing. They got it right because now AEW are forced to do one thing. They're forced to address something from last year that has not happened yet. I'm actually going to use a comparison that will soon be tied up, but now you have to really address it. Because I've been dwelling on it as well from something else. Cheers, Ibo. I look forward to hearing. I look forward to hearing what you think about it. I think the smart manner is, and I am going to praise them, even though they haven't done it yet. It's not directly the Rock Cena involvement. It's not like that at all. But if you actually look at what happened last year, one particular group disappeared off TV. Now they're actually forced to answer the question. Now, I said at the end of last year that I think potentially Kenny Omega could be the reason behind the Death Riders. And I said that. I think he could well beat, and he turns heel at the end of the year as world champion, but he still has the Death Riders in his control. There is still a wild chance that now the actual answer might be right there on the closing section of the show. And we'll come back to this later. I think he's not. See, the thing is, in most cases, I agree, he is so stubborn. It is so. He is so stubborn in a variety of ways, but I actually think and I say this in the right way, I'm glad he hasn't pivoted now. I'm glad he hasn't. The interference was right. And weirdly enough, this is where they kind of get what they're going for. All the pieces of the jigsaw, apart from maybe one or two that are still to be established, are falling into place. I actually think the only way it works, though, and again, this is me saying this because I still have to be fair. I can't just dictate the one side of it. You've got to capitalize now on this moment. The main event ties back to the Bucks disappearing. If they pull this off, now I'm saying this because I'm speculating. If they don't pull off on why the Bucks were getting rid of all those documents back in August, then September, late August into September last year. If you do not come back to that, then 100% it's a fail. It's a fail. If they don't go back to this, then it 100% they've wasted it. If they do, however, and they tie it in, then perfect. Otherwise, you've lost. There was a few matches I agree that shouldn't have been on there. I don't think Dynasty was awful. I think that's a bit harsh. The triple threat was really good. I agree the triple threat was really good. And it's hard to book triple threat matches. But we'll see what happens. Like we will see. I think there's a few matches on this card that are actually worth watching. Some of them there's 3 matches in particular I fucking hated anyway, regardless. So let me get it straight. You're willing to give other companies chance after chance after chance, but for AEW it's 2 or 3 chances and then just draw the line. This is why I can't take people seriously. Like I'm the same. I've given company after company chance after chance after chance, but I still want to see what comes from it. Weirdly enough, I actually have high hopes for for one story that none of you lot have even picked up on yet. One of you, some of you lot haven't even picked up on one WWE storyline that's actually there in your face. But you guys are like, nah. There's one right there in your face, and you're like, chance after chance, no. This is them actually trying to tell something that you guys haven't thought of yet. I say let them have it. Now, could they have made 1 or 2 changes last night? 100%. 100%. I would have been like, you can change this part, you can change that part, and you can change this. But people beg for them to tell stories. They're telling a story. And then all of a sudden you've got a cliffhanger moment, and you just want people just to give up. So I want them to actually hit the fire right now on Wednesday. If they don't tie in the Bucks to the Death Riders on Wednesday, then 100% I will say get rid of this storyline. And then just have Mox lose the title on Dynamite. Have someone challenge him right there and then. Have him lose the title. But if you actually have to make an effort, then go for it. Honestly, make it happen. If not, then go for it. I think Joe showing up is exactly what he said. He said he was going to be watching closely to make sure things don't get way out of control. So I think in a way what they're doing is they're just supporting Swerve. I'm waiting to see what happens. Like I said, I've got a little theory, and half of it is correct. I'm talking both. See, the WWE storyline is involving Jacob Fatu, but Samoa Joe's actually done what he said he was going to do. I think they were. See, the thing is, they were waiting. I think the moment is here. It ties in. You look at what they've got. You're getting on the way to Double or Nothing. You're getting on the way to All In. It's all falling into place. My biggest query, and this is just what I'm thinking, we don't know what documents they shredded, in kayfabe that we saw on TV before they disappeared. Jack Perry's also been off TV ever since. They all disappeared. If you're going to reintroduce them, then essentially it has to come from your biggest babyface losing the world title main event. Especially if you're screwing him. Especially if you're building up to your biggest event. I think the all-in main event is still Okada versus Omega. Title versus title. I still think that's going to be your main event. But in terms of Mox and his world, if Mox is world champion at All In, I think now. See, I had Will potentially to win only if Swerve didn't win the match, because then it would have been Swerve versus Mox, Swerve versus Hangman. I also said if Swerve lost, then we would get Swerve and Hangman as a tag team at All In. But I think I think if it's a world title match, I think it will be Mox versus Will. Yeah, they could still build up to Hangman by winning the Owen Hart tournament. If it's Owen Hart's enjoyment of watching from above, watching Hangman win his tournament, then I've got no issue with either. But we'll see. It's interesting. One person it won't be, it's not Jay White. Yeah, even though I can't stand him, ironically, I can't stand. I genuinely cannot stand the man. But it's basically what they did with Roman Reigns when he was world champion. Essentially, except one member of the elite will not be a part of it, and that's Kenny. At least he won't be on the Death Rider side. Just remember who loses that main event, buddy. Sometimes, weirdly enough, Vince McMahon said it, even though Vince McMahon is an absolute weirdo, Vince McMahon actually said it best a long time ago. Sometimes you don't have to listen to the fans. If you listen to the fans all the time, then you miss out. See if they listen to the fans. Roman Reigns wouldn't have been world champion for 1,316 days. If they listened to the fans, John Cena would have won a 17th world title 5 years ago. Or he would have, 4 years ago, against Roman at SummerSlam. If they'd listened to the fans, you would have so much worse. Yeah. Honestly, see, last night was the only time in the main event I've actually thought that it actually worked. Like, see, his last couple of main events, honestly, I've said have been terrible. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to come on here and barefaced lie saying all his main events have been great. The last 2 or 3 have been genuinely boring. Last night actually felt like they're actually trying to further advance the story. And honestly, I still criticize WWE for shit I don't like, but I like when they actually progress a story that I'm actually invested in. I was 50-50 on the Death Riders. I was. I'm more now 65, 70% in favour now than I was until last night. Thing is, if you've already started investing in it, you can't just give up like this. I don't know how far it's going to go though, but I would be surprised if it goes past All In. At least All In with him as champion. You know what I'm going to say as well, and here's another thing. Maybe not all, and I get why. But here's the thing: was every single WWE fan behind the Bloodline story? I can categorically tell you the answer is no. But there was still a portion of fans that were actually invested in it. I'm not saying the Death Riders is the Bloodline equivalent, because quite frankly, both storylines and tangents have made any sense. But if this is your angle, you back it 100%. A booker and their creative team, if they're invested in the storyline, you have to follow it through. Now, I'm hoping that it doesn't last 3 years. I mean, I hope not. Because I think that's the problem, is how far you stretch it. But in reality, you also have to proceed with it. If you want to try and do something that you aren't considerably known for because it's not really your style of work, you have to try. I think they have to try. The Bloodline wasn't actually a big draw for most of this story. And if you don't believe me, you can go back and look at SmackDown for the first 18 months. The first 18 months, they were not doing anything financially. Coincidentally, the same thing that the Death Riders have done. In a sense, that's what they are trying to do. I'm not sure how far they're going to go with it, but right now it's their primary story. I think they, and besides Hangman's redemption arc that he's doing, similarly to 2021. But if he's going to win the title, I don't know. Like I said, I'm eager to find off. Yeah, I saw that. We know why he's angry at Booker T, though. To be fair, I can't stand Booker T anyway. But I was surprised. I saw the clip this afternoon. Like I saw the clip this afternoon of him talking about Booker. I would have been shouting down saying I've been screwed. That's what I would have been doing. I would have been shouting down at the fans saying I've been screwed. I'm going to get vengeance. I'm going to get payback. I will knock Swerve for that though. Like I will mark Swerve down. No, I can deny it because I've seen fiscal proof. I agree. Yep, no, that's true. No, I don't disagree. I think there is a time and a place. I think Swerve didn't even need to bring up Booker T. Quite frankly, why would you want to bring up Booker T, who's getting pictures with known sex offenders and lies to people about it? Quite frankly, Booker T should not even be involved in the business anymore. How can you trust Booker T anyway? I don't. Like, I actually don't trust him. The guy's an absolute fool. See, when the Bloodline became a success in terms of finances, when they brought in Sami Zayn. See, up to that, they didn't know what they were doing. He is. That's what makes it worse. That's what makes it worse, Catherine. He's got all this success. He's got all these accolades. But he chooses to do all that, which I don't get why. I don't get it. It's annoying as well because when you look at what Booker T's done for the business, he's helped a lot of people get their foot in the door. Now, if he chose to embrace his black culture instead of Samoan, then The Rock would be the most decorated black wrestler in the business. But he's not, so you have to mark him down. Most successful Samoan, on the other hand, you could realistically say. When he came in, yes. Before that, no. Cody Rhodes had one of the most lackluster title runs in the last 4 years, but hey, he finished the story. John Moxley's reign has been 6 months, and now he's holding the division hostage. I think the problem for Cody, and this is, I said this about Cody's title run when it started, and this is just, I'm not a particular fan of him. Like, I'm not a particular fan of him, but I will have to say this. He is unfortunately, if you look at it unbiased, instead of having your bias against or bias for mind here, if you're going to look at it unbiased and fairly, and I say this in the nicest way about Cody, Cody's title reign has slightly resolved him as a victim. Now, not a victim that he's seeking attention, but he's a victim in the reality that he has to follow a title reign that had gone on too long, that even fans weren't sure when it was actually realistically going to end and how much more we're going to get. And it's why a lot of people have actually said, you know what, Cody's title reign should have ended at SummerSlam, for example. Or it should have ended to Kevin Owens at the Royal Rumble in the ladder match. We now know why it didn't end, because Kevin Owens was injured. And you can't put him as a transitional champion for 3 months until WrestleMania. It's stupid. So, despite not being a fan of Cody, I also have to look at potentially he could well be a victim. he could well be a victim of the fact he's had a title reign for nearly a year, and it's going to be a year at WrestleMania regardless. But he's had this level of title reign, and it's that long that nobody actually survives. Here's a funny thing as well. Hulk Hogan's 4-year title reign that he had. Hulk Hogan's title reign, when it ended, look what happened when a new champion was crowned. They didn't crown a new champion for 5 months. You had the Royal Rumble, plus Saturday night main events, TV live events, and prime time all the way up to WrestleMania 4. Yeah, WrestleMania 4. There wasn't a WWE champion. You then crown a champion. In the best circumstance, he did though. You know what's annoying, and I love Macho Man Randy Savage. He actually did suffer. He suffered because of the fact that Hogan was still finding ways to get himself back into the main event to take that title when, frankly, it shouldn't have been him to begin with. Now, the Mega Powers exploding is a fantastic storyline. It is actually an incredible story. But Macho Man suffered as well because you're still coming off the high of Hogan. And that Hogan title reign was so astronomical in terms of numbers that the expectation is, well, how far is Macho Man going to hold it before Hogan takes it? The original plan wasn't for Savage to even make it to WrestleMania. He did. Bret Hart was meant to have a title reign the length of Bob Backlund. Vince confirmed that with Bret in a documentary. I do as well. I think Macho Man is a better character, better wrestler, better promo than Hulk Hogan ever was. But Hulk Hogan to them was larger than life. But the reason Savage suffered is because no matter what Randy could do, the questions always were, when is Hogan going to take the title back? Look at Cody Rhodes' entire reign. Look at it on social media. And I've seen a lot of these comments. I find it funny, but it's going to end up becoming an even bigger question in 12 days. A lot of people have genuinely said Cody Rhodes is champion. How long until Roman gets his title back? That is exactly what happened in Macho Man Randy Savage in 1989. Well, 88 to 1999. 89, sorry. How long until Hogan gets his title back? Done the exact same thing when Ric Flair won it at the Royal Rumble. The only difference is they didn't put the title on because of the drug scandal. Instead, they went with Savage, back to Flair, Flair to Bret Hart, and then they went to Yoko. And as Zodiac said, Hogan then stole it because Hogan couldn't help himself. And Abu, I'll come to your question in just a minute. It's a really good question. When you look at it in this manner, I don't think Cody's title run has been a success. I don't think it has been. Now, has he had some relatively good matches? For his style, yeah. I mean, I don't think he's been a great champion. I think he might end up being a better chaser. But if you want to be truly honest, his title run has failed because of what was before him. Now, people are going to say, oh, it's all about he had to finish the story. He had to do it the second time round. If he had done it the first time, in hindsight, there's a chance that he wouldn't have struggled. See, the thing is, I do love Bret Hart, that's true. But fans didn't switch to WCW because of Bret Hart. Look at the whole 83 weeks. Since he loves to bring up so much. 83 weeks. WCW did not pull ahead of WWE when Bret Hart was WWE champion. Not many people are going to like this, but it's a fact. They started pulling away when Shawn Michaels won it the first time. Shawn Michaels' first title reign really contributed badly to ratings. Now, it's not his fault. It just didn't work. And then it continued, so on and so forth. It didn't stop, as they say, for that long. Now, I don't blame all Shawn Michaels, but he was booked badly as world champion. That's why they made Psycho Sid champion. Well, it was meant to be Vader, but Brett had a hissy. Sorry, not Brett. Shawn Michaels had a hissy fit and saying, "I'm not losing it to Vader," so he dropped it to Sid. But the ratings in '96 were so bad when Shawn Michaels was world champion that they had to go back. They were begging for Brett to come back early, but Brett was like, "I'm not. I'm too injured." Brett said, "I'm too injured. I'm taking a break and I'm doing other things in the meantime. I can't come back right now. I'm not healthy." And I'm not saying that to blow my own smoke to Shawn Michaels fans to berate them. I'm not. I absolutely adore Shawn Michaels' work. But it's a genuine fact. Fans started switching to Nitro because of Shawn Michaels up against the NWO, and Shawn Michaels was not drawing money. Now, Brett in WCW was an absolute failure anyway, because Bischoff is a clueless moron. He was a clueless moron because he didn't even allow Sting to win the title of Starrcade properly, the way it was meant to be. Your biggest angle, your biggest pay-per-view ever, and you couldn't even get the decision done right. Then you've got you got it so wrong as well, because Bret Hart as well going into WCW had the most heat because of Montreal. You could have capitalized on Montreal, but instead you fucked him up. Now he's a two-time WCW champion. He won the US title. Brilliant for Bret Hart. Bret Hart is gold wherever he goes. But they got the booking so wrong for him. And they used to just fly him out and have him do nothing. They would waste his time. Horrible. Now, The Rock contributed, but Stone Cold massively, yeah. So do I. I think if it hadn't been for SummerSlam, Vader would have won it. But Hogan absolutely politics, saying count the match normally. Eric Bischoff literally on the day went to the referee, Nick Patrick, have they come to a decision yet on what we're going to do? And they said, no, we haven't decided yet. Hogan hasn't agreed to a fast count. Sorry, Hogan hasn't agreed to losing by fast count. Sting hasn't agreed to losing to clean. He suggested the fast count because then it means you can have the angle. But Eric Bischoff said, just go with what they say instead. Eric Bischoff is your booker. He should have literally said, you're doing it this way. it would have been the best ending at WCW pay-per-view, and instead they ruined it. And it's even worse as well because the match they had at Super Brawl was excellent. Super Brawl 98 is the best Hogan versus Sting match. And they still couldn't even escape Starrcade. Yeah, 100%. I'm not saying in that way like a cowbell in the one way. Hogan as a heel should have known that him winning by the fast count makes the moment better. And they failed. It was a story 16 months in the making as well. It was the longest story WCW had ever actually told. And when it got to the most important moment, it doesn't work for me, brother. Just go with what he says. It doesn't work for me, brother. Anyway, let's stop talking about WCW. Let's stop talking about this. We're 40 minutes in. Well, 41 minutes and 48 seconds. Let's start talking about Dynasty. On the flip side of it, we've got some matches to review, so let's actually get through it. So, opening matchup. I'm not talking the pre-show because the pre-show was crap. Apart from Anthony Bowen's presentation, I like that. Apart from that, the whole pre-show is a waste of my time. I don't like it. I don't like pre-shows in general for any company. I'm still not going to review them. So I'm not interested in them. Not really. 0 Hour is for me pointless. I don't like pre-shows. Ironically, matches on the main card that should have been on the pre-show makes it worse. And remember, I did say I was gonna come after Tony Khan, so I am coming after him tonight. Don't worry. Let us begin. So, Owen Hart Cup Tournament, men's side. Yeah, so do I. I really like that return. I like the look. It looks like he's been really working out himself. His repackage looks good. I'm eager to see what they do with him. I'm not sure though, but maybe TNT title in the future. I'm not sure. But yeah. Now, I know he did a watch along last night. He's not in here at the moment. He might appear at some point tonight. But I was watching Matthew's stream last night, his watch along of Dynasty. And I said to him, they have to start with the 3 worst matches on the card, get them over and done with, so we can then really give the crowd some enjoyment and let them pick up, almost like a second pre-show, basically, or an extended pre-show, and then we get to the matches that matter. No, instead we start with high energy, crazy speed, an amazing counter that I haven't seen in years, and a good showing from somebody who finally gets a pay-per-view they deserve. Now, what counter am I talking about? I've not seen in years. The Styles Clash into Hurricane Rana. I haven't seen that since AJ Styles in his early TNA years. That was excellent. I was surprised they went with it. by the way. I was very surprised they went with that counter. But this match was high pace, high action. It was incredible start to finish. It's one of the good matches on the card. And one of the good matches that actually lived up to what it meant. It was good to see Kevin Knight get a showing. I think there's some matches on the card I would have put, as I agree with what Jamie said in the chat. There's some of these matches I would have put on Collision. I'm going to tell you which ones when I come to them, pay-per-view or Collision. This one, 100%, I'm keeping it on pay-per-view because you want to get the tournament interest started early. And I like that they put it right. And to be honest, I like the fact they made it right at the start. Let's raise the bar. Let's have fun with it. And it was instantly energized, and the crowd were incredible for this match. So fair play to them for doing this. Could they have gone about it differently? Perhaps. But you know what? I actually like this match. Now, my only thing is I didn't get to see enough of one thing. Will Ospreay's technical work. This felt like he had to work his original days where he had to work as a high flyer, not an adaptable all rounder. I was actually missing some of his technical work, but from his high flying displays and the power moves he was using, good match. And Kevin Knight, great showing. Let's see what more they give from him. I really hope they give him more, because he's one of those guys you don't want to lose in the shuffle. He isn't. In terms of a basis for wrestling, he is one of them. He is one of them. Kevin Knight is the future. You know what's crazy? Is his age. The fact that people are saying he's the future and he's 28 years old is wild. Because you wouldn't think he's 28. That's how good he is. Will Ospreay versus Kevin Knight, good match. Fought the right guy, won, but more importantly, both of them had a good showing. I agree. And I also think as well, this is what makes it hard. If you had Kevin Knight win, then the online Discord says, "Oh, Will Ospreay's been buried." But then if you have Kevin Knight lose to Will Ospreay, which he does, it's the new guy's being buried by one of the top stars. But there's this actually, for all the fact it's a good tournament match, and a tournament match is fine. This is a no win, no lose situation because anyone can nitpick it in any way, and I do see arguments on both sides. Whereas I think it was the right result, and it was a good first pay-per-view display for Kevin. And long may it continue. And yes, he does need to be protected. The match obviously ends by the Hidden Blade. Good result. And I like that they're also building a feud between Jay White and Will Ospreay as well. Up next is the Collision match. First round losing to a new guy, it would be kind of a burial, but it would be a huge one, but it would be. It looks like he is going to win it now, the tournament, unless Hangman does win the final. I don't think so. I think it'll be Hangman Swerve as a team. Pray Tony doesn't book Kevin Knight the way he booked Ricky Saints. Yeah, I hope not as well. I like him. I like what he's got to offer. Up next is the first of matches I would have had on Collision. It's the World Tag Team titles. And the reason why I would have had it on Collision is because of who was one of the opponents. Now, Big Bill, pay-per-view, 100%. Brian Keefe, he sucks. I feel bad for Big Bill. Big Bill has been booked so well recently on his own as a big man. Even though he's still part of the learning oak tree, he has still been thriving on his own. And you put him in with Brian Keefe for an AEW World Tag Team title shot just because Brian Cage is injured. I think they got this horribly wrong. I would have put this on Collision, or see, just for fun, I would have done not Moxley, sorry. I would have done Big Bill. I would have done Big Bill versus Bobby Lashley. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, MJF getting involved was typical MJF, but at least that sums up MJF sticking to what he's been involved in. He's been booked into this circumstance with the Hurt Syndicate trying to get himself in. They're trying to prove they don't need him. He's trying to prove they do need him, and he needs them. So it does kind of at least contribute. I just think it's unfortunate that Brian Keefe's in the match, because Brian Keefe is boring. But the performance of Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, second to none. Big Bill, good performance. MVP on commentary, loved it. I just hate Brian Keefe. And I'm not singling him out in the worst way. I'm just singling him out because he really is terrible. And it actually hurts Big Bill on going forward. It actually does hurt him. He needs to get out of this group quick and go back to being on his own, because then we can enjoy it. Now, I like the combination as well. The German suplex sets up the spear. Really do like that combination. I like the fact it ties into Shelton Benjamin's technical ability, but it does tie into Lashley as a pure powerhouse. Brian is the new Enzo. I know. Too bad he hasn't turned on him yet. Taz pretending to get annoyed about MVP with his height comments was also strange but funny. But last night, if you look at the match as well, last night it felt like Big Bill was up against two people that were on equal platforms, not one is acting superior to the other. Now, in previous matches, Bobby Lashley has acted superior to Shelton Benjamin. Last night, they both acted like they were one and the same, not split. So I'm actually going to praise the creative direction for that. Credit to the crowd as well for what I'm about to say, because when you look at what match started the show, then what followed it, and trying to stay buzzed, you then get to the third match, and it's the first women's match on the card. And it's actually a fun match. It's between one. It involves one woman in particular that I really have liked since day one, and the other is always 50-50 with me. Obviously, the full 100% since day one, Julia Hart. And Mercedes Moné, I've always been 50-50 on her. The crowd were really amped up during both women's entrances. They were, and if you dare argue on me on this one, I will honestly tell you to go and rewatch this part. If anyone tries to argue with me, I will tell you to go back and watch for yourself and listen. During Mercedes' copycat entrance of Velvet Sky, and Julia Hart's got the best women's entrance in wrestling, the crowd are vibrant during both entrances. But when the match started, the crowd really went soft. And that's actually not great. Now, I'm not saying this as a disparaging phrase that they got so excited by the entrances that they were all of a sudden dead for the match. They weren't dead for the match, but they were silent for a few minutes when the match started. And that, in a way, kind of hurt the beginning of this contest. Now, unfortunately, yeah, I think she's a contradiction zodiac. I think when she does a promo longer than 5 minutes, she's in trouble. But no matter the match length, she's a good wrestler. Acknowledge your CEO. Frankly, not everyone likes the Death Rider storyline. That also includes AEW fans as well. If they don't like it, they don't like it. That's fine. It's their prerogative. Now, Tony Storm and Megan Bayne, we'll come to that later on. Because there's problems with that match. And don't worry, I'm not going to get angry because of the result. I know what I predicted. I got that wrong too. But I am going to criticize whoever booked it, probably RJ City, because he has been booking Tony Storm. I will criticize one part of their match. But we highlighted recently. Exactly. I'm one of them. The whole way through. Start to finish. I have to obviously comment on one thing because it was throughout the week. I am not being hypocritical. We saw it on Friday. There was a botch on SmackDown. There was a botch in this match on this pay-per-view that must be addressed. On Friday, Nathan Fraser and Rey Fenix had a botch in the suicide dive. And yes, answer your question, Abul, Phoenix will end up in the mid-card scene, 100%. Mercedes Moné and Julia Hart, they botched a sunset flip. Now, just like Nathan Fraser and Rey Fenix did, Mercedes Moné and Julia Hart did recover very well. But it was very unnecessary. Now, there's no point scoring. There is no nitpicking. These things can happen. And it's awkward when it happens when it's a big situation. And I'm glad, just like in the Fraser match with Phoenix, his positioning was way off. And to be fair, Ray Phoenix didn't help himself either because their communication wasn't there. So it went wrong. The diving move went wrong. It is, in my opinion, involved on Phoenix because they're meant to be communicating the spot and it doesn't go well. And effectively, that's why I've got the same issue with the suicide dive from Copeland because he nearly got that fucking wrong as well on Wednesday. So I'm saying that in that respect. Now the sunset flip goes wrong, and if it had gone seriously wrong, one of them isn't getting back up. That's why I'm glad neither women nor men were hurt, and hopefully they're a bit too careful. They're a bit too careful, and that can cause problems. You got to be a little bit mindful. Sometimes being far too careful, you're still prone to a mistake. Cope is too old to be doing suicide. Oh, 100%. I'm getting sick and tired of it. He has to stop them. Mercedes Mini, of course, would win with a lovely yet decisive pin combination. However, throughout the match, she was on defense. Julia Hart took the match to the TBS champion. Really well done. This match was right to be on Collision. Only kidding. This match was good for the pay-per-view. But the next tournament match should have been on Collision. So, Catherine, I know you love the guy, but here's a fact. Kyle Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe should have been on Collision, not Dynasty. Trios World Tag Team titles. The Death Riders versus rated former teammates. You've got Claudio Castagnoli, the incredible menace that's Pac, and the emo professional wrestling Daniel Garcia. Which is Wheeler Yuta, versus Adam Copeland and FTR's Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler. Oh, that pink gear was awful. I don't know what he was smoking when that was getting made, but his head was gone. Only semi-finals and pay-per-view and finals should be on pay-per-views. Yeah, that's a fair counter retort. That's a fair comment. Now, this match. Now, everybody knows I love to sit and watch a wrestling match. I can say this comfortably. This match was. Right, so let's do it as a scale. Here is excellent. Here is good. Here is okay. Here's average. And then right down is crap. This match was average. But the post-match angle was excellent. So let's break it down. You can clearly see throughout the match that they're teasing what is to come. They are teasing it. But what's special is the competitiveness of all six men with all of them not trying to outshine each other. Now, for me, the two best talents to watch in this match. Number one is Pac. I think Pac was the best member of the entire match. And second, coincidentally, was his Collision opponent, Cash Wheeler. Again, these two have got an incredible chemistry. And they delivered on Collision. They delivered on Collision. And they delivered on the pay-per-view. I think, now, I'm actually going to agree on one thing that's just been said, and it's not you, Catherine. I am going to agree with the guy on one thing. They phoned it in. Specific talent phoned it in. And I'm going to tell you, Dax Harwood phoned in the match. Wheeler Yuta phoned it in. Copeland phoned it in. And Claudio, he has been phoning it in quite recently. I think Claudio was 50-50. But Pac and Cash Wheeler, they were locked in. They were locked in. Now, if you're not fully locked in, then you're already in trouble because two people cannot carry a match of 6. It's too much to exert. It's too much to do. It's too much to organize, and also it's still too much to really build with. And yeah, 100%, their blood was still flowing in that Collision match. That match was really good. It's the best AEW TV match of the week. Like, I was really impressed with Cash Wheeler against Pac. The Bushido knee, obviously, is what Wheeler Yuta wins. Wheeler Yuta getting the win in his hometown, despite being booed. I will praise that. Very well done. But like I said, this match was average. I am starting to get annoyed by one spot, though. And I'm seeing it everywhere now. And it's actually really starting to annoy me. And I blame Claudio and I blame Dax Harwood. And I don't know if people like this, but I don't. It's probably because I value technical wrestling and submission wrestling more than anything else. But if you've locked in a sharpshooter, and it's fully locked in, why the hell are you doing this? Zodiac, you and me are on a psychic link or something. I hate a sharpshooter locked in. I don't want that crap. And I'm not joking. If I see this in WWE, I will criticize the fuck out of this. TNA as well. New Japan. They've all done it before for different moves. But I hate a submission move that leads to a slap fest. I agree with Zodiac 100%. That's not wrestling. That's not even furthering a story. That's actually brain dead stupid. And honestly, it actually this is what adds to my point of this match was average. Because you stuff like this, it hurts the match, especially the match flow. When it's flowing well, even though the match wasn't great, you still need a good flow. This took the flow away completely. The match was not saved after this. You couldn't save it. Now, luckily, the post-match angle was excellent, and it's proved me right. FTR is going to turn heel. We're going to get Copeland versus Cage. Check, please. And I like the way they sucked him in. I really like that. They sucked him in. Like, that was really well done. Standing there, hand in hand, arms up in front of the crowd. Then boom, that pile driver. Oh yeah, it is. Here's the thing, it's still crap. Everywhere does it, it's crap. But Dax Harwood phoned in the match. He didn't phone in the post-match angle. He was locked. I really like this heel turn. This is a really, really good heel turn. Pile driver, and then he gets the chair. That Cash Wheel at this point is still unsure what he's going to do. Good. You need to have some doubt here. Doubt is so important. It's a fundamental emotion and feeling. If you're feeling doubt, then you need to really make it count. And you see it. Look, Copeland and Cage versus FTR for the titles. I don't think so. I think it's just going to be a big all-in tag match. I think it's going to lead to FTR becoming heel champions, though. Yeah, so do I. They have to take advantage. Otherwise, it's a bust. Now, as the sun's coming down, temperature-wise, it's 14 degrees now. It's come down 2 degrees. There we go. And we can have a song change. Okay, so you get the pile driver. Cash Wheeler's still in a shock. You've got the shock of the turn. You've then got Dax Harwood rolling out the ring, brings in chairs because he's going for the concerto. Again, good continuation of the turn. You need to keep going as much as you can. Cash Wheeler gets up in his face, shouting at him, "What the hell are you doing?" And he does the smartest thing you could ever do. He hands the chair to Cash Wheeler. Now, he throws it down, helps Copeland to his feet. Again, planting the seed. Will he or won't he do it? Is he going to lamp him? Instead, he drags him, a short Irish whip, up in the air, and as the thumbnail shows, we get a beautifully timed shatter machine, and then we get another pile driver on steel chairs. We get 2 concertos. This is what I've been missing from FTR for so long. FTR have needed not a kick up the ass, but FTR for the longest time has really needed a change in creative direction. They've needed a heel turn for a long time, not because they're terrible heel baby faces. They're not. They're actually a good babyface team, but they haven't been heels for so long that the questions were starting to creep in about what can they do next to change it up. And right now, the best case was you make it matter. You turn them heel in the best way. One of your big pay-per-views. You plant the seeds of the split. Are they going to split the tag team, or are they going to just turn heel? We already kind of felt they were going to do one, and then they did the right one. So now they've got to capitalize. I'm not sure if Copeland and Cage should win the tag titles, but I can see that as a transition. I love Copeland and Christian, but don't need to see them on our tag team championship run, especially on Hurt Syndicate, the Bucks, Guns, FTR. They are at least a legitimate tag team, though, even though they've not teamed since 2001. They are still at least legitimate, that they know how to work with each other. So at least you're okay. They could put over younger tag teams, though. More. Okay. Oh, see, this next match has actually got me confused. This next match that we're about to discuss had me so confused. And not confused because it's bad. Just confused of just why would you do it in the first place? Now, it is for the AEW Women's World Championship. It is Megan Bayne versus Toni Storm. But what's confusing is the fact that they had Toni Storm come out like she's up against, I don't know. I'm not even sure what member of the franchise that Megan Bayne is meant to be. Is she meant to be Ivan Drago? Or is she meant to be fucking Apollo Creed? Because she certainly wasn't like Clubber Lang. Because this was longer than a 3-minute fight. So I just don't get it. I mean, I thought the Rocky montage was cool. I'm still not a particular fan of wrestling being compared to cinema. But I just thought the whole Rocky montage and the Rocky entrance was actually considerably well done. I just found it so damn weird. But it does tie into Toni Storm being a theatrical character, that she's meant to be Marilyn Monroe and as a professional wrestler, and it does tie in. I just think it was weird, but the match was the match delivered for what we got. And it delivered well for the time limit given. It delivered well for the two women involved. Great chemistry. And we actually got to see what Megan Bayne actually could be if she wins the world title down the line. Now, a good hoss fight is a good way to put it, Guy. That's a good way to put it. Ivan Drago, yeah, and 100%. I actually thought the match was over after when she kicked out at Storm 0-1. I was like, oh yeah, she's gonna hit the fall from descent. She's gonna hit this and it's over. But I like the use of Luther to remove the Penelope Ford factor as well. That's good. I like his facial expressions. I think he was maybe a bit too happy that he had Penelope Ford in his hands. I mean, who wouldn't? Just saying. I really liked it. I also liked the presentation of Megan Bayne. Her gear, really, really cool. I really like her gear. Yeah, it's possible she might have done. We won't know unless it comes out as a report, or if she doesn't work a match for, say, the next 2 weeks of TV. I highly doubt it. Now, Megan Bayne, I said, someone can correct me for time frame, but I think it was before they officially announced the match was going to be at Dynasty. I said Megan Bayne is right. Megan Bayne is right there for the taking to be your Brock Lesnar of your women's division. Now, she failed to win the first time. But the entire match, she was so vicious with her moves. The German suplexes, the bicycle kicks, that flying clothesline, the power bomb. The offense was good. I loved the cocky pins that she was using as well. Like the pins, like just both hands crossed over instead of a full mounted cover. Like, it's the cockiness of the challenger, but she does it in a way that comes across looking like she's an Amazonian. It was like a much more likable version of Wonder Woman. And Toni Storm, her facial expressions, no matter what, she sells really well. She is within her right to be called the best women's wrestler on the planet, both from a worker and from a character. She's leaps and bounds. Last night she did meet her match, and she beat her match. But I'll be surprised if she beats her the second time. That was really well done. And yes, she did look strong. Losing to the roll-up, I was surprised they'd done that again, but it was a good resolve, and I love the anger shown. See, Megan Bayne did what Swerve didn't do. She got angry by how she lost. And you could tell she's gunning for revenge. And she's going to come after Toni Storm again. She's going to come after her. But this was really well done. It was the best women's match on the card. And I like as well that they just told a technical masterclass, and they told the story of the smaller, lighter talent has to overcome the larger, stronger talent. David versus Goliath. Or, in her case, well, the woman equivalent, but it is basically that story of David versus Goliath, and a Goliath that will rip your head off, or she'll German suplex your head into the mat. Really well done. Also, short note, I really like the use of Luther when he was knocked out. when she did the leap and then done the leap and tornado DDT. Clever by the champion. Now, another collision match. I like the turnbuckle brainbuster. I like it when Sami Zayn does it. I like it when Kyle Fletcher does it. But this next match, the right winner, wrong show. This should have been on Collision. That's it. Speaking of matches that should have been on Collision, or matches that shouldn't have happened in general, and terrible creative. Yeah, well, this should have been. This should have been. Or it shouldn't have been or on a Ring of Honor episode where it belonged. This is the worst match I've ever seen on AEW pay-per-view. And I feel bad for my boy Bandito. Because I love Bandito. Bandito's awesome. This next match is genuinely the worst AEW pay-per-view match I have watched. This was crap. This was horrific. This was dreadful. And this is where I am going to really, really tear into Tony Khan. Now, see the way the shows went so far? Tony Khan has been here or there when it comes to creative. He does redeem himself shortly after this. But this booking decision to book this match on this event for that championship in that stipulation, and then to exactly as Zodiac says with that finish, nah. I do not care. This was dreadful. And I hate the fact that they brought in two randoms. You've got to be kidding. Come on, you can do better. Yeah, but here's the thing. He shouldn't be scared. If Jericho leaves, then who cares? Jericho can no longer offer anything to AEW. He cannot offer anything now to a company unless he's behind the scenes permanently instead of out in the ring. He can't. What does he offer? Well, they both deserve better, but this match shouldn't have even happened on this show. It should have been waited for the Ring of Honor pay-per-view that's coming up, where it matters more. The Bandito looks incredible shape. I've always liked Bandito. And I like Bandito as the new champion. But I just hate the way it works. There's no upside to this. I think they've made a mistake. Here's the funny thing. Ring of Honor's ratings have not, and I don't care about ratings, but I'm just saying it truthfully. Ring of Honor's ratings haven't increased because of Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho isn't contributing anymore. What does he do? Either you put him behind the scenes, get him on your creative team, or you have him jobbing to people. Get him away from the trunks, get him back in tights, get him back in suits, and get Jericho being an absolute mad heel that works, not this learning tree bollocks. Oh yeah, he's coming to an end soon, don't worry. But I don't know. I won't give Jericho credit for one thing though. The power bomb he does and the Hurricane Rana, they're good spots. But that corkscrew as well nearly went wrong. A vertical suplex as well. I did not expect the crowd to count to 60. Wait, that is mad strength from Bandito. Especially because Jericho's body is older and not as crisp anymore in terms of ring shape. I hate the way Jericho screams. Yes, so do I. But yeah, you bring in two randoms that show Aubrey, the worst referee in the world, Edwards, where the baseball bat is that Jericho used to win the match previously. The decision gets reversed, then Bandito wins. Bandito's now, I believe, a 3-time Ring of Honor World Champion. True. I didn't. I thought it was rubbish. Now, I don't like the guy because I think he's an absolute weirdo. But Daniel Garcia might be about to do the one thing I never thought he could do. Daniel Garcia might be about to win people over. And I don't like him, so me saying this takes a lot of risk. A lot of risk. Now, Adam Cole locked in for this match. The video package is incredible. But Daniel Garcia, honestly, Daniel Garcia might be about to win people over. And let me explain why. Adam Cole is back to form, baby. He's back to his best year. Of course. You ditch the bitch. You get the golden hitch. The problem is Jericho doesn't have the body and the style anymore to manage it. That's why it can't work. Anyway, why is Daniel Garcia about to win people over? What have people complained about Daniel Garcia about for the longest time, including me? Including me. What has he complained about for the long? What have we complained about for the longest time? Mm-hmm. Correct. What else, Catherine? There you go. Daniel Garcia in this match is not working babyface. Look again, he's working heel. And you can tell he's working heel because now the way and technical wrestlers do it better than brawlers, for example. That's it. Target injured limbs. Now, Adam Cole sold the ankle excellently well. But when you look at Daniel Garcia, this is what the likes of Brett did when Brett turned heel. He became more vicious when he came to targeting limbs. When Kurt Angle turned heel the first time, he was targeting limbs wildly. Kurt Hennig did the same. Owen Hart all done this. AJ done it when he started using the calf killer in 2013. When you look at Daniel Garcia, he is really, really embracing that heel side of him. And I actually will say this. He's about to save his career. Now, and what really cements it for me, I was unsure about this match initially. I didn't think it was good enough to be on the card. I take it back. This match deserved to be on the card. Daniel Garcia deserved to be on the Dynasty pay-per-view. Adam Cole, Daniel Garcia, you owe him your career. Because Adam Cole just might have saved your career. Would you agree or would you disagree? Now, bear in mind, I don't like his dancing. I think that's stupid. But the way he worked heel last night, if I was him, I would pile drive Matt Menard and I would stop the dancing. And then we can get a little bit more serious side of Garcia, where he becomes a vicious. Here's the funny thing. Daniel Garcia, if he turns heel, will have done what Hook should have done. And you can bet on that. So, how does the match conclude? Well, Garcia makes a fucking amazing mistake. he takes his eye off Cole for about 10 seconds because he wants to do a pile driver from the middle rope. That's when you know that heel turn for Daniel Garcia is coming. Very soon. He is going to turn heel. Now, white gear with red boots doesn't work. It doesn't work. Speaking of Adam Cole, he's actually live on his Twitch right now. He's playing The Witcher 3. See, I've always known Adam Cole's had great taste in games. But Adam Cole was selling the ankle injury. Daniel Garcia tried as hard as he could to break it. Yeah, the patella knee buster on the steps changed the game completely for him. The Panama Sunrise, then the boom hitting, kicking out of that from Garcia. Like Garcia using his own moves, Cole kicks out. Then Cole does it twice. Chef's kiss. Good wrestling match, and I like the handshake, but we know what's coming. Garcia's going to turn heel. And if he turns heel, and he saved his career. If he continues as a babyface with his stupid dancing, his career's dead. And then we get the best match on the show. This match was the best book match on the card. It had the best variety of talent coming in. It had the best spot of the entire show. And it had the most creative ways to do a pin cover in a long time that I've ever seen. This match was wonderful. And I say that because a triple threat, like I said an hour and a half ago, a triple threat is hard to book on pay-per-view. It's very hard to book a triple threat for any company. Oh yeah, people no sell finishers. I don't like it either, but I like what we got from it. But this match has got a good dynamic. You've got two baby faces plus the heel, plus a heel challenger. And I like that they've only got one triple threat match on the card. They didn't overly do it. I like it's only one, and they stuck to one. And they put it right before the main event. This was clever, and this was correct. The entrances are superb. Ricochet right now as a heel, he's found his character, he's found his dynamic. I like that. For Speedball, he's come in, he's doing his own thing, and when he does his thing, he is working to a level that many are going to have to catch up to. And Kenny Omega is simply Kenny Omega. That guy is on a level that many can't reach. He just gets it. There's no coincidence that his favorite river wrestler is Kurt Angle. That guy knows ball. That guy knows. And funnily enough, Zodiac says keep Ricochet away from headsets or microphones. I thought that was funny. Like that little bit there, I thought was funny. See, Ricochet's a Rock fan. You can tell that he was channeling a little bit of Rock there when he was on the headset. I thought it was funny, a little bit funny, but funny nonetheless. And it's just the fact that Mike Bailey just kicked him in the face when he was talking. He's like, "Shut up, bitch." That was crafty. The crowd were involved the whole way through. The crowd didn't stop. And then what do you mean, why does Ricochet wear clothes too big for him? What are you talking about? I mean, he is a heel. You are meant to dislike him. Exactly. He's doing his job if you hate him. True. I like the fact that we got varieties of the small package, the crucifix pins, the roll ups, all different ways to do a pin, and yet the best spot of the match is the crane kick. Speedball Mike Bailey went all Daniel LaRusso and crane kicked Johnny Ricochet Lawrence into the Shadow Realm. That crane kick is the best spot of the entire pay-per-view. Now, the one-winged angel is a beautiful finish. That's a good move. But the crane kick is the best spot of the entire show. The way he does it as well. Ricochet is pure like, come on then. Generally, really, really well done. And I did say Ricochet was going to take the pin. Didn't say, I told you Ricochet would take the pin. And he did. He took it like a champ. That was a brilliant middle rope. Then one winged angel, and then Speedball just falls back, trio wall position. There's no coming out of the trio wall unless someone lets you up. That was good. The tornado double knee strike from the middle rope is one of my favorite moves. I'm glad we got to see that. The tornado thrust kick, great move. I think I might actually have that as a saved image that I can share for everybody. Let me just see. Oh, that's interaction. Hold on. I'm pretty sure I have I actually took it as a little screenshot and saved it just because I like the way he just lands it on Kenny. Let me see if I've got it. To be fair, in a triple threat, you're always going to have kick-out spots, so I don't think that's a problem, to be honest. You're always going to have kick-out spots in this. Ah, there it is. I got it as a picture-in-picture screenshot, but I'll actually cut in the bit that matters, and that's the kick. Yeah. If they had cut several matches out, I would have been pure celebrating. But you actually look at the length of the match, though. It's not so bad. I'll actually tell you how long each match went. There's going to be two of me on screen for 2 seconds, but don't worry. Let's have a look. This triple threat match. See, that's not bad. This match was only 35 seconds less than the main event. This is your top mid-card title, and it went 31 minutes bang on. What's annoying is Bandido's match against Chris Jericho went nearly 19 minutes. I think that's more painful. But your main match for the mid-card title, your biggest mid-card title going 31 minutes, and then your world title match goes 31-35 isn't so bad. Anyway, I need to put myself on here for 2 seconds. Because I need to put these up. Because these are... Oh, hold on. Oh, behave. Doing it from my phone. 2 seconds, guys. Yeah, 31 minutes is fine because you actually got time of all three. You got time with all three, and that's what matters most. If you didn't get time with all three in the ring, interacting with each other, and you're also building up your feud, then you've got nothing. But here you go. Here's the kick. That I thought was absolutely incredible. That kick is lethal. But yeah, this was my match of the night, hands down. And I like the fact as well that Ricochet came out and said he got screwed in this match. He got screwed out of his title. Loved it. And then, of course, in the thumbnail, we get exactly what I told you was going to happen. All in. Title versus title. Okada versus Omega. There you go. Cemented. I think the reality is they're going that long because when you've got so much to really work with, you can really get the enjoyment of all three at their best, and at their best in front of a crowd that are there. If the crowd wasn't there, then it would have been really bad. You know what I mean? Like, it would have been really bad if it, in that case, but it didn't. And yeah, back to back AEW pay-per-views, he's had the match of the night. He's had the match of the night again and again. Incredible. Kenny Omega this year is going to be TNT champion, Continental champion, Continental Classic winner, AEW World Champion. He's going to unify those titles. He's going to win the Continental Classic, and he's going to win the World Championship all this year. And he's going to win the world title, I believe, as your heel. And I wouldn't be surprised if his biggest babyface challenge is Hangman Page. Speedball was incredible in the match, honestly. I agree. Now, this match was brilliantly done by all three, but I agree, Speedball really was the MVP. But it was 100% the correct result. But it was beautifully orchestrated. Really, really well done. Then we come to the main event. Yeah, it was. the world title. So, 31 minutes, 35 seconds. Jon Moxley doesn't bleed. Swerve Strickland breaks the Bulldog choke. Swerve gets beautifully countered from a running attack into a Kimura. Shock. Genuine shock, not sarcasm shock, genuine shock. You get a little bit of main roster fuckery, as everyone calls it. You get a little bit of main roster fuckery with the fact that it becomes a no holds barred. So you get a few chair instances. I think the elbow brushes to Swerve really works. Again, call back to the injury gave to Swerve. Omega versus Speedball on his first pay-per-view wouldn't have helped Speedball. I agree though, but I think right now, no. I think Omega's next match is Ricochet on his own, Double or Nothing. But in hindsight, first of all, shout out to Swerve for coming out looking like Static, a great comic book character, one that I actually really like. Static character is really cool. This was a highlight on its own. Now, why is that a highlight? Because for the first time in a long time, Hangman Page is so conflicted for hatred that he doesn't know which man he hates more. And that's why I still insist, in some reality, we will have Swerve and Hangman as a tag team. Because confliction got the best of Hangman. And I like that we didn't get the buckshot lariat. We didn't need it. Yes, we got a fair bit of interference that was a bit odd. Some of it was odd. Not all of it, but some of it. And then you got that, honestly, that excellent dead eye on the champion. And we're like, this is it. Yeah, I think he was going to hit him as well. But when you look at it, though, it's the eyes. Look again. It's his eyes. Look one more time. Jon Moxley's fully back to him. Jon Moxley doesn't know Hangman's there. Swerve Strickland is down. His head's slightly facing Hangman. But is Swerve looking at Hangman? No. This was really a 50-50. And that one line from Collision really says it all. You deserve to have your house burnt down. I know. Fast forward 24 hours. Kindred spirits come together with a common enemy. And look at the way the show ended after this. Now, obviously, it's in the thumbnail. One more time, the thumbnail, last time tonight. The Young Bucks have returned. They've cost Swerve Strickland the World Championship. Swerve, remember, Abel, if you want to watch AEW Dynasty, you can watch it in parts on Watch Wrestling. On Watch Wrestling, they'll let you watch it in parts, dude. Before they left as well, and all the documents shred and the Death Rider style, remember, Swerve Strickland called out the Bucks over how they attacked Tony Khan, calling them cowards. They haven't forgotten that either. Now, I'm hoping, now this is why I'm saying I'm skeptical on the story, but I want them to try and make it work and pay it off. We're really going to see who is behind the Death Riders. Now, I said I thought it was going to be Kenny Omega. And it ties into what I said by the end of the year when he becomes world champion. But it would actually be a whole lot more cynical if it was the Bucks. Especially with the words that Moxley said to Schiavone quite some time ago. This is not your company anymore. That still holds true. Moments matter. And if they don't make this count, then it's 100% a bust. It will be a bust if it does not go correct. It's interesting that do people care enough in the sense, because then we'll know. We'll know because they have to relate back to the elements of the story. And if they don't, then they've lost. I think this is actually something good they can get from this. Now, I want to hope so, because I want them to actually get a great payoff. Oh yeah, I don't think he'll end up in AEW anyway, but if it did happen and it was him, then honestly God, I would just disappear for the rest of my life. Now, Swerve Stomp off the ladder through the table was another great highlight. I thought that was excellent. But then the final Swerve Stomp before the lights go out, that was a bit manic, but you get the re-emergence, and you get the re-emergence of the Bucks, and they screw the champion. Well, the intended to be champion. He's the champion for us, but he's not the champion of the world yet. I want the payoff. I want to see what they get. So I'm actually hoping they make it count. And this is why I've made the title specific. The title is based on what I've just said. You've got to get that little payoff. And look at the title. A Dynasty Forged or a Swerve in the Foundation. The Foundation isn't Swerve. Swerve is the encapsulation when he becomes champion again. The Foundation is this story. If you don't get the payoff, then you've wasted so much. So that's why I'm hoping they pull this off. We are going to wait and see. I'm eager to find out. And I'm hoping on Wednesday in Baltimore, we'll find out. You're only saying you don't think they will because you said earlier on you've gave them chance after chance, which I don't think is fair. People are asking for AEW to tell stories. This is a story. We have to see it out. I'd say give them a chance, because who knows what's going to happen. All I know is I was right about Copeland. I was right about Swerve and Hangman. I was right about Okada and Omega. I was right about Bowens being the mystery opponent, actually. All I'm gonna say is let it play out. Let's see what happens. End of the day, that's what we gotta do. But exactly, Abu. Exactly. You've got to let them. You got to do it. You got to let them try. All right, Fletch. So, ladies and gentlemen, 2 hours, 6 minutes, and 25 seconds. That has been a review. It was a very good spot. So, we reviewed Dynamite in 2 hours. We reviewed Dynasty in 2 hours, 6 minutes, and 40 seconds. But we're not done yet. We're not done. No, Fletch, you're all right. You're all right. We still have 2 more things to do. We're not finished yet. Now the review's over. But we have 2 things to do. So let's start with the first one. Let me just get it up. Not that I have an issue with that, but this is important. I get what you're saying, Fernando, in a way. I think I get what they're trying to do. That's why I think it made sense. But we have to do this. Let me just... The story's there. Maybe it could have had a little bit more energy, but I think it's right. I'm not previewing anything. The thing is, I do like Raw. It's just not been great for a long time. Now, I can only take from what was on the preview show. So, sadly, many people are ineligible for what's about to happen. I don't know. I honestly don't know. We need to see who won the predictions. So, result base. I'm going to mark it color screen. And we're going to see who won. If you get it right, you get it right, and I'll mark it if you get it wrong, right, because of the way the car setups. Number 1, obviously, got it wrong. No, is Zodiac. On. Gets a blue. again, everyone gets a blue. Actually, we may as well. So, who wins? From 10 matches, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. You, sir, or lady, because we don't know. I know. Yeah. You are the prediction winner with a perfect score. Now, I obviously proclaimed Anthony Bowens was on the pre-show, but we're not counting pre-show, so I'm not giving myself an extra point. Don't worry. In the ladies and gentlemen, I want some emojis for Zodiac for winning the prediction stream for Dynasty. Perfect score as well. Very impressed. You did great, Zodiac. So, there's luck. Nonsense. Got it so. And you did very well. So that's part 1. Five minutes. And I'm going to make sure it's 5 minutes because I'm. Q&A, but on the screen. Bellissimo. It was exquisite. You can ask whatever you want, guys, until that clock runs out. Anything you want. Doesn't have to be this specific. Copeland gets kicked out of the patriarchy. Copeland saves him, and then FTR attacks them both. What do you think is your most underrated time in wrestling from all promotions? Underrated time? I would have to say between 2003 and 2005, SmackDown and TNA. And then 2009, 2011, New Japan with Nakamura, Tanahashi, and Naito coming together before they went on their excursions, etc. And then they became what they did. And they build with that, so I think it really does depend on that. Those were great times. And obviously, there's some moments during the new generation that is underrated. No, I don't know. It's possible. But Copeland saving the patriarchy doesn't do anything for him because the patriarchy obviously tried to eliminate him. But just going after Christian matters more because he can't help him. He can't help himself when it comes to Christian. I also think SmackDown Live in 2016 with Ambrose, Styles, Ziggler, and Nakamura is actually underrated. 2004 to 2007 TNA is underrated. To be fair, TNA from that entire early decade, 04 to 09, consistently is just enjoyable. Perhaps, but then that takes away their union with MJF as well. They'll be tag teaming it all in, so I think after Double or Nothing, I think they'll build up to Double or Nothing, and then when it gets all in, that's when they'll team together. A good 2-month pay-per-view build. I'm happy. Just don't do an all out and have the rematch 2 weeks later. Have the rematch the following pay-per-view. He should stay out of action until Double or Nothing. I would keep him out for the month. Let FTR hype up that they took him out. I didn't hear a build. I didn't hear a bell. Which part of Mania 26? Because it depends. Technically, WrestleMania 26 is the 25-year anniversary of WrestleMania, but no one tell Vince McMahon that. Keep building him up in your title scene. Have him compete in the TNT title scene. Kevin Knight in the TNT title scene makes perfect sense. Yeah, same. FTR go for the tag titles at Double or Nothing, potentially, and he screws them. If Will beats Moxley all in, does he lose it Full Gear or sooner? I would have him lose it at World's End to Kenny. Only 3 of those matches had good builds. One of them should never have happened anyway. What's your favourite Bret Hart match of all time? Ooh. Fuck, that's a good question. Because I've got a personal list of Bret Hart matches. So, like a huge list. Bret versus Stone Cold at Survivor Series 1996. That's my favourite Bret match. No, I don't think so. See, I love those 2 matches as well. Those 2 matches are incredible. But there's something about that Survivor Series match that's just so much better. I think those are his second and third best matches. Then his fourth and fifth are the 2. The fourth and fifth, actually, I would say, are the 2 perfect matches. And then it's Shawn at Survivor Series 92. Yeah. Now, I think that's his best WrestleMania match. Hands down. But I think the match at Madison Square Garden at Survivor Series is just, honestly, I think, honestly, that's his best. I think it is better than Mania, but the Mania match is a perfect match as well. It's only just better. You know, what's Bret's worst matches? Top 5. Any match with Goldberg. Match versus Patriot. First match with Diesel. He had a horrible match against Papa Shango. And then there was a match he had with the Berserker. Raptel. Yeah. The four-way is brilliant. And well done stipulation as well. I really do like that. I think he might, but I'm not sure if he'll go. I think he may consider it if he actually does leave, if he's not renewed, but we'll find out. At the moment, no. Moot though. Got for the Vince match was like, honestly, that match is in, like, I choose to forget that match exists. Who will Randy face at Mania? Hopefully no one, and he's not on the card. But I wouldn't be surprised if he's in a match with, say, Rusev or Aleister Black as an open challenge just for the hell of it. WWE re-signing Rusev is genuinely funny. They're idiots for re-signing him. He offers you nothing. Absolute fools. I would cut Randy from Mania. He has a story. Randy Orton had a story. Kevin Owens is injured. Randy's got nothing, so keep him off Mania. It's not hard. I mean, Jacob Fatu will squash him. Vince match with Hogan was better, as painful as that is to say. Sadly, I agree. But Vince's best Mania match is definitely with Shawn Michaels. Thank you. I am going to get out here because we're now at 2 hours 26 minutes. We're not going to get in with that though. He's not going to wrestle. I'll be surprised if they let Nick Aldis wrestle. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching tonight. This has been your AEW Dynasty review. I have been your channel host, your channel owner, your entertainment for the evening, as I always am. This is me, Reece, Magic always, and I will see you tomorrow. Yeah, the 2 RKOs. One for now and one for when the next one happens. That was like 2 years ago as well. If they do have a match, cool, because Nick Aldis will just school Orton, technically, but we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, goodbye, good night, welcome, welcome, one and all. Goodbye, goodbye to you all. And in the circumstance, I'll see you tomorrow. Good night. Like, share, and subscribe. You guys are awesome.